So there is the runners and riders here for this next race, which kicks off at 11:25 in just a moment's time. And competing here, France will occupy lane number 1. There are the French, the silver medalists from the European Championships. They qualified for a home Paralympic Games later on this year, 75 days' time. They will be lining up in Versailles. And next door to them, they will have Germany, part of that uber-strong German Paralympic team that will be competing in Paris later on. 4 out of the 5 Paralympic crews qualified. They are one of them. And they got medals in the last 2 World Championships in this boat class. And another crew to watch out for, the USA, who got a silver at last year's World Championships with the majority of this crew. Italy will go in lane number 4. They were one of the qualifiers from Lucerne at the final Paralympic qualification regatta. And Australia will be next up. 3 new athletes on board into this boat from last year's World Championships. They've done a really big shuffle round, including Coxed, Hannah Coop, who's coxing the Australian Women's 8 later on this afternoon. And then here are the crew that have gone unbeaten since 2011. The GB PR3 Mix4, no matter what the combination, no matter what the occasion, they have reigned triumphant. But the roll call now for who will get the medals in Poznan, the final World Cup, and a very important World Cup, it seems, for a lot of para squads out there who want to get that racing experience as close to the games as possible. But nice, clean, smooth start from across the board. Yeah, and I just noticed the Italians have changed their order. There we see the British leading out. Oh, what a shot that is. You can see the backdrop of Poznan behind the start line. And that is the old town closest to us. It's just such a wonderful place. And I have to say, I'm going to say this at least once, but Gidra Rakowskaite, she's been giving me pronunciation lessons of her name. I saw her this morning, and she said, right, Crossy, you've got to get my name right. So the Paralympic champion, the only one with Erin Kennedy, the coxswain from that crew that won in Tokyo. In the 3-seat, the 32-year-old from Worcester Rowing Club, just in front of the Americans, who are their biggest opposition in this para category. See Erin Kennedy there, Camilla, up in the bows. Little look across from the American cox there, just to check where they are. Emil Eldrecker, former MIT student from Massachusetts. Yeah, and I mean, this British crew are the ones to be knocked off the top, but if any crew's been close enough to it, it's always been the USA that have kind of been in and around it when it comes to the medals. And the USA with a new athlete on board. I say new, but new to the PR3 Mix4, Gemma Wallenschlager in the bow seat. She's come across from the PR3 Mix double at last year's World Championship. She picked up a silver medal in Belgrade sculling, but she's dropped one blade. She's now sweeping here with the other 4 athletes in this boat. Emily Oldracker in the coxswain seat, Alex Flynn, Benjamin Washburn in the stroke seat, Skylar Dahl in the 2 seats, and it's still pretty close here, overlap. Yeah, there's Gidra Rakowskaite with a blonde hair stream behind them, and well, back into the boat is Morgan Feist-Noyes. You can see him there sandwiched between Frankie in the bows, Frankie Allen, and Gidra Rakowskaite, and he's come back into this boat. He's been in the boat for a couple of weeks. He's made a real difference, the Bradford Raven rower. Erin Kennedy, she's taking a look to her left at the Americans. Should just mention Gemma Wallenschlager, give a shout out to Temple University. She was named Temple University Women's Rowing Athlete of the Year when she was there, the Floridan. But so far, the Americans would want to keep closer to the British. But look what they're doing in this second quarter of the race. Absolutely allowing that boat to run out. You can see the boat speed there, Camilla. It's looking really impressive. They've made a big move. And what is the response going to be from the Americans and the French? Well, the response was a matched boat speed. You can see there the highlighted 16.4. That shows that the Americans are moving at the same pace as the British, but at a length deficit. So they don't, you know, they need to be greater than in order to make up time, not to sort of teach you what you already know, but that faster boat speed required to try and eat into this one-length lead. But just look how composed the British are.
They are looking better, I think, than I saw them last year. This is really some of the most relaxed, fluid rowing that I've seen from the British. If they can keep this pace, they're going to move away from the Americans in the third quarter. Let's see what the USA have got to actually move back on the British, because if they are going to be in contention for the gold medal, they need to do it in this race. France not out of it at all at the moment, and Emile Egistipas there, Coxed, is going to be screaming for all he's worth there on the far side. I don't think I would have expected the French to be this close to the Americans. That is the battle there for the silver medal.
Well, it was the silver medal for the Americans at the World Championships last year. It was a silver medal for the French at the European Championships this year. So it's the fight to who is going to slide in behind Great Britain. The USA up at 35 strokes a minute, trying to wrestle that back.
And I tell you, look, the French have got a female in the stroke seat. They've got Margot Boulot from Cercle d'Aviron Nogentay, and it just shows you, you know, that women can stroke a mixed boat and just get the speed exactly like the men can. There is the American stroke man, desperate to get back, Ben Washburn from Connecticut, just 23. He's rowed really long throughout this race.
Oh, Margot Boulet's a great shout in that French stroke seat. She's the reigning bronze medalist from Tokyo 2020 in this boat category, the PR3 mixed 4. They were finishing behind the Americans on the Sea Forest Waterway, but look at this, the British, we should never doubt them here in this PR3 mixed 4 category. I just wonder when this will ever come to an end, you know? It just, no matter who's in it, no matter who's there, it's always different athletes every Paralympic cycle, but they're just dominant. It's incredible.
Yeah, and they've done what, you know, we suggested. If that boat movement is fluid, they are rowing better than they did at the World Championships last year. I know Raskakaite was a bit disappointed with their row. She thought the Americans were quite close to them. She likes winning by a long way, and that's what this British looks set to do. But the contest for the silver medal is sensational. Okay, the British out in front looking great. They can look behind them, and I don't know how much they look pretty focused in their boat, but we can look out to the left and we can see that the French
are coming back. Martin, look at these. What a response here from Boulet, from Biro, from Taranto and Schaffer, who are really vying for that silver medal. They're looking to flip the script from the Paralympics, from the World Championships, and try and hedge their bets to go hard in this final 250 meters and give it all to try and overturn the new look American combination. But the Americans have said no thank you, we'll take that back. They're now pushing back out to a quarter of a length, half a length. I think the French spent everything in that last 250 to try and get themselves into silver, and they've actually closed the gap now to the British, who with this sprint I think will only finish with a few lengths in hand. And I say only because in years gone by it's been an absolutely insurmountable margin, but the Americans will slot into that piece of open water behind Great Britain for the silver medal. Great shots there of Emily Oldracker, the cox of the American crew, who's done a great job to coerce them to spend all of their energy on a silver medal placing, but Great Britain will cross in gold. Yet another unbeaten race for them, notched onto the scorebooks, and the Americans will take silver once again ahead of France. A great challenge from the French there in the middle of that race. That made it very exciting there for the podium placings. They will still make that third step on the podium here at Lake Malta, but the Americans just had a great response, I think, and very composed and kept calm to push back out in the final 250.
They are absolutely destroyed, that British crew. They've worked so hard. You could see Frankie up in the bows, Frankie Allen, just gulping for breath. The American stroke man, Ben Washburn, just did enough with Alex Flynn to hold off the challenge from the French in that last 250. But it was a great challenge. I love watching Margot Boulet stroke that French boat. Grégoire Biro, Remy Taranto, and then Candice Chaffa from Saint Cassien up in the bows. That was textbook rowing from the British, and you see them off the start there. But to me, looking at them in the middle, it's like poetry in motion. Absolutely beautiful. Up with, you know, some of the best rowing we've seen from crews in the open categories in my way of thinking.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Oh, just intruder on the course there, and they handled that very well. A little bit of jeopardy for the Americans, trying not to run over the wildlife here in Poznan. But look, they're just so robust, aren't they, the British? They just never look flustered or rushed. And I think that's very characteristic of their rowing style, and brilliantly coached by Nicola Benavente. Yeah.
Lovely shots as crews cross the line, and we are going to give you another medal ceremony to a great race. Well, let's go for confirmation. 7:05 for the Brits. Decent margin ahead of America and France.